Hey, you okay there? You don't look too good.
What are you talking about? I feel fine.
Oh, you're definitely not okay. Welcome to Art Without Blood, a surreal horror visual novel where you have a demon inside of you. Sorry, a demonic disease. All of this started from a museum trip gone wrong, and now you've come face to face with actual demons who may need to take you home now that you're down with the sickness. Here are your content warnings. Now please enjoy yourselves. You've really never been to the museum? It's raining today. Enough to roll down the subway steps and make small pools in cracked tiles. You had planned something nicer than this. It's a long trip. I get it. A trip to the park for a monthly artist market was in the cards, but heavy rainfall was a new addition in the forecast. The event was cancelled. Iris, a friend whose meeting you cannot remember, had other ideas. There's an art museum nearby that you've never visited, just a few stops away on the Yellow Line. I usually try to come here once a month, bringing a book and reading while surrounded by the pinnacle of human creativity. It might just be one of the best feelings in the world. Her expression darkens as she chases one of her loose, fleeting thoughts. This time of day, this time of week, it's usually really quiet. But we might have more traffic because it's raining. Hope that doesn't bother you. You shake your head. I'll be your guide. The train stops. The two of you leave. You're surprised that you've never been lured to such a massive structure. The one that sits by a larger park and attempts to outshine nature with its regality. Beautiful columns, a cupola roof, open doors, and a large, imposing staircase. But the rain is not going to stop you from climbing them and entering the building. You put your umbrella and wet rain jacket in the museum's coat shack. The reception room harbors murmurs between guests and the sounds of footsteps, mostly amplified by their echoes of the tall ceilings. Oh, before we go in, Iris rummages in her bag before handing you a book, some tabbed sticky notes, and a few pencils. When I was here a few visits ago, someone suggested to me to bring a notebook to practice drawing with. I thought it might be fun if we drew together. I always keep an extra on me, not on purpose or anything, but I'm kind of obsessed with stationery and notebooks that it's taking over my life. I got it at the last art market, and I was hoping to find the artist again and show you her work, but it's whatever. Keep it. You now have the notebook. In the future, this will be a functioning notebook that you can use to save your game, check your inventory, see your character relations, and more. You thank Iris and continue into the building. You approach the kindest-looking museum worker you can find to gain entry. Her name tag reads Cassie. You show her your ID. You're qualified for a free membership because you're a city resident within the qualifying age bracket. Would you like to sign up? It'll make your future visits much easier. All you have to do is show your card and you'll be let in. Plus, you'll get access to all of the limited time exhibits without having to wait. Are you interested in that? Sure, why not? You agree with her proposal. It's great to hear. What would you like your first name to be on your membership card? Ooh, Lion. You walk her through the spelling in case she needs assistance. And your pronouns, if that's alright? They, them. Your name is Lion, and your pronouns are they, them. Yep. Alright, let me print your card real quick, and you can be on your way. As a reminder, members also get discounts on anything from our museum shop and cafe, so I get to bring souvenirs? If you have any other questions, please feel free to ask any of our staff members. She hands you your new membership ID. Oh, and before you go, here's a pamphlet for you. It contains all of our permanent exhibits and some information on temporary installations. I hope you enjoy your stay. You walk away from the desk and stand in the middle of the reception room. Isn't this lovely? We have matching membership cards now. She holds hers up to you. You hold yours up back, aligning the portraits together. Above you is an additional floor of exhibits, and to each side of you is a large hallway that leads to priceless pieces of history. There is no way you can comb through the entire museum in just one visit. But we'll do what we can at whatever pace you want. Let's see if there's anything new. You open the pamphlet to look at current exhibitions. Echoes of the Empty Song, for limited time. Explore the world of the Yu Ying, Asia's most mysterious poet. View his original manuscripts and the artwork that inspired his somber pieces. Could be interesting. Our European painting collection consists of over 2,400 works of art, from Renaissance Italy to the late 20th century. Members may view our upcoming exhibit on violence in 18th century Catholic France without a ticketed time slot. Always a classic. The collection of Vivienne Montagu explores ornaments, metalwork, and jewelry from all corners of the world. Witness history through jewelry, from Egyptian bracelets to uranium necklaces. Oh, lots of good choices. We'll try to make our way through those areas if we can, but who knows where the museum will take us. You put the pamphlet away and begin your exodus. One of the front areas of the museum hosts small, short-run exhibitions. For the next week, this room displays beautiful artwork inspired by the natural world. Iris taps your shoulder and drags you over to a plate with a hummingbird painted in blue and shining golds. So beautiful. Your gaze falls upon a cup with a wall creeper painted on it, its wingspan decorated in red, black, and spots of white. I hope that one day, when the world quiets down, I have enough money to spend on such nice things. Is work not treating you well? It's treating me just fine. But I think you're allowed to be upset when things don't happen the way you think they should. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be a downer. Not here, at least. We stand quietly next to one another as we observe the cabinet of birds. Is something bothering you? No. Nothing but the hair on my face that keeps tickling my lashes. She smiles at that. My mother was really into bird feeding after my brother's death. She bought a bird bath, some purchased with little cylinders of food. She'd sit on the back porch and watch them, bought a bird book from the store down the street, and tried to identify each of them. Really? What kinds of birds did you see? Purple finches, American robins. Grackles were always so mean. You'd watch them fight in mid-air over mere crumbs. Mourning doves were always the kindest of the birds. They were quiet, beautiful. But my favorites were always the finches. Did you have many birds where you were from? That depends on where you grew up, which was in the city, in a rural area, somewhere in between. It's a lot of places. I don't live in a city. It's like somewhere in between, really. I grew up in a suburb or something like that. You'll get some birds every so often. She puts her hands in her lap, interlacing her fingers. I don't know if I could ever use silverware and plates that are this pretty. I probably store them behind glass, like the museums do. My family has a cabinet of special dinnerware from my parents' wedding for holidays, some of it never touched. But we never know how long we're alive, right? Being alive is a special occasion. She pushes some hair behind her ear. If I stay around the birds, I'm going to walk myself into a fit and ruin the trip. Do you want to move on to, paintings of landscapes? Sure. You and Iris continue through the exhibit. As you quietly observe artwork, there's one painting that captures your attention. It reminds you of the famous Wanderer above the Sea of Fog by Caspar David Friedrich. Only in this one, it is not a red-headed man overlooking the waves with a cane in one hand. Instead, the figure wears a black hat with sheer fabric attached to a wide brim. Wait a minute, is that Dorian? Is that Dorian? They have long, white hair with soft hints of red. This one is weird. You look at the plaque. The artwork's name has been scratched off with a black permanent marker. The artist is anonymous. Huh. So we don't know the artist, but it says here that they're... You look at the plaque again. Local. Painted within the last 5 years. Iris crosses her arms and cricks her head to one side. Hair falls over her face. I don't know what's so weird about it to me. It kind of looks like someone I might know whose name I don't remember. It's a natural background, sure, but then there's this figure that doesn't feel like it belongs. Not just in the space, but to the viewer, if that makes sense. I kind of like it. I think this is pretty neat, but I never hang this in my house kind of way. But you've always been into macabre stuff, right? Yeah, but there's the occult, and then there's artifacts that are cursed by unknown forces beyond your control. I really don't think this is one of them. I mean, you never know. It's just giving me a weird feeling. You're telling me 1016 is a cursed game? Is that what it is? Like, I feel sick to my stomach. If you aren't feeling well, we can take a break. No, it's fine. I'm mostly just feeling nauseous. You spot a young man standing by one of the entryways. You wave him over, and he comes with a soft scowl on his face. His name tag reads Victor, he, they, museum educator. Hello. Do you have any questions about our exhibit, or is there something else I can assist you with? Hey, I was just wondering if there was anything you could tell us about this picture. You gesture to the painting in front of you. It feels a little out of place, so we're curious to know more about it, considering it's, Iris continues to stare at it, as if trying to unlock an invisible puzzle box. Strangeness. Of course. This piece was purchased at a cafe local to the curator's neighborhood. You know how sometimes shops will have artwork by local artists on the walls and available for purchase? The owners don't remember where it came from or who it was from. How it got there is still up to debate. Some of us think it was there just for so long that everyone forgot about it. Others thought that it just ended on the walls by the hands of a rogue painter when no one was looking. The back of the canvas doesn't have much for us to go off of. It had a title, a symbol carved on the back, a year, and... Iris makes a soft noise. Both you and Victor turn towards her. She wipes her nose, a red pigment, not quite solid, not quite liquid, a powder much heavier than the makeup that she wears on her eyelids. A smear of red pigment that we assumed was used for the paint. We aren't really sure why that was there. It was scrubbed off the back once it came into our possession. It's just weird. The painting doesn't use any reds, nor did any of the colors required mixing a paint like that. You look back at the painting. I mean, there's clearly some red there. But it does. You point to the figure, looking out at raging waves. Victor looks, staring directly at the figure. Please don't point at our artwork. Museum policy, not mine. But judging by what's up with your friend and whatever you're seeing, I think you have bigger issues. So you're saying no one else can see Dorian? There's nothing there. Are you confusing it with another work in our collection? You might be thinking of something in our romantic period section. You can find it on the second floor in the north wing. Oh. What? We have maps outside if you need any. And if your friend is feeling unwell, please do seek medical attention. Your tickets are valid all day, so you may return if you need to. If you have any other questions, please ping one of our educators. Victor walks away and slips into another room. He keeps his composure, but you notice that as soon as he turns the corner, his pace quickens. You look at Iris, but she's staring at the powder settling in her palm. Huh? Why did he leave? A different museum educator walks up to you and Iris. His name tag is too worn to see the name clearly. Worry plagues his eyes more than his eye bags do. I'm sorry about Victor. He's something of a handful sometimes. He sure is. To, make up for his incompetence, is there anything I can help you with? I wanted to know if there's something wrong with this painting. My friend started feeling ill when look at it, and he had tried to proclaim there was nothing there. I mean, there's waves and rocks, but that's all. There's nothing weird about it besides its slightly confusing origins. Here, let me show you. The worker opens the book in his hand. Now you're looking for the endless sea. He flips through a few pages before landing on one displaying the painting you were inquiring about. Only the one in the picture had no figure standing on the rocks. But that doesn't make sense. Huh? What's the issue? You look back to the painting on the wall and... The figure is gone. You glance back at the paper, then the painting, then the paper again. Now they are the same. Oh, that's no good. How did this happen? The worker quickly closes the book and walks over to the painting. His focus is on the plaque attached to the wall. Someone drew over it? I'll have to go make a new one. Sorry, I hope my information was helpful, but I have to take care of some business. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy your stay. Oh, my boss is going to be so mad at me. He waves, visible sweat dripping down his face before he walks off in the same direction that Victor had. Iris turns towards you, still wiping the red powder from her nose. That was uncalled for. Really was. Are you alright though? Yeah, a little dizzy, but I'm fine. It's not like when you have a dry nose and a nosebleed at the same time, so it makes dried blood particles. I don't know what this is. But I don't really want to be here anymore. Let's view a different section. You don't want to, go do something else? We're already here. Already made the trip. Might as well continue. Are you sure? Yeah. Enough is enough. The two of you leave the nature exhibit and venture back out into the main hall. You make your way through the crowded exhibitions, hoping to find some serenity deeper within the museum. You steal quick glances at marble sculptures. Some are missing arms, while others are missing their heads. How time erodes, takes, decays, and how humanity breaks down those that are most beautiful. One particular statue catches your eye. At first you don't notice what about it feels different. The statue of a beautiful woman in detailed robes, leading all the way to her feet. None of her is broken. Somehow, she even shines a brighter white than the other statues in the hall. You take a step closer. Her eyes are hollow, sockets dark. Her eyes are missing. Or perhaps her affliction was intentional. You can see from here that a red pigment sits on the lower half of the socket. You know that a lot of ancient marble sculptures were once painted, pigment eroded by the atrophy of time. However, not only was that small bit a strange reminder of pigment, a full sculpture, but the pigment was dusty. It was not dried liquid from paint, nor was it dust left behind. You're not quite sure what it was or why it remains. Or perhaps, why it looks so fresh. You begin reading the description on the plaque. You hear a loud sound behind you. A sharp grunt of pain. You turn around and see Iris sprawled on the floor. She looks like she slipped, stumbled, and fallen on her own ankles. She caresses her head, occasionally using the base of a palm to rub the corner of her right eye. Are you alright? You extend a hand towards her. She does not respond. Hello? You move in front of her and kneel to meet her at eye level. Iris, is everything okay? Finally, she looks at you. Her eyes slowly move from your face to your hand. She takes it, and you pull her up to standing. Iris wobbles in place, using you as support. You steal a quick glance behind her. There is nothing on the floor, no object nor spill. I'm sorry. I don't know what overcame me. She continues to hold her head in her spare hand. It's like, I don't know, I felt like she was looking at me. You look back at the sculpture, with its hollowed socket staring back. How should you comfort her? Yeah, but reassure her. There's nothing there, Iris. It's just a statue. I can take you somewhere to sit if you need. Somewhere quieter. The museum has a cafe if you need water. She lets go of your hand. I think I'm alright. Thank you, though. I just need a few minutes to catch myself. I knew I was anxious, but not anxious enough to induce visual hallucinations. She still looks uneasy. Help Iris? Yeah. Let me help you get somewhere to sit down. You do that for me? That's why I offered. Thank you. You can follow me. I know this place pretty well. She waves at you and begins walking towards a smaller hallway. You feel obligated to follow. And, along the way, you feel a tingling pain in your hand. Iris takes you near the next exhibit you want to go to. Here are Chinese textiles and pieces of beautiful clothing decorated in floral patterns. There is no one else here, save a few staff members keeping watch over their designated rooms. She sits you on a bench and sighs. She still looks visibly pale, fidgeting with the sleeves of a cardigan. But she's trying her best to stay calm. Thank you again. Did I ever tell you why I come here? No. The drinks. The members' discount is really good, just because a bunch of coffee here is cheaper than a bunch of coffees at a chain over time. I've never really been here despite the fact that I live here, because I'm really busy with, work. I have a job. Obviously, that keeps me pretty preoccupied. I've been trying to do more fun stuff when I can to keep up some sort of work-life balance, but it's hard. That makes sense. She gently taps her fingers against her thighs. It's not just the art here that's really wonderful. The people here are really cool too. Like the people who work here? I'm sure they have to be a cabinet of curiosities to work at such a nice museum. Even if you're rude like the last guy we had. The patrons are nice too. Iris stares through you. I met a really nice person here a while ago. They were drawing in one of the painting sections. You're allowed to bring a graphite pencil and try your own copying of masterworks. They gave me a few tips on basic techniques. I brought some stuff to draw with while we saw some things as a fun activity, but... You sit for a few moments in awkward silence. Iris has stopped pulling on the ends of her sleeves, opting instead to play with the skin on her wrist. It begins to turn red, whether from her nails digging in and causing it to bleed, or from the repeated rubbing. Are you anxious about what you saw? Yeah, I am. I'm trying not to think about it. No matter if my mind is on one topic, or if I try to talk out loud to you, it's always in the forefront of my head. You should. I feel like this is a terrible idea! But I'm not the smartest cookie, so I'm gonna go with the terrible idea. What did you see? I've been through here countless times, so it's an area I usually skip past unless I'm really enthusiastic about sculptures that day, and obviously to bring you along. But there was something weird in the one with the woman that we were at. I don't remember it ever being there. The plaque didn't have a name, a date, or a location of which it was carved at. It was blank. This is a very professional museum. It's not like they'd forget that. I was going to tell a staff member, but I couldn't peel myself away from it. That's when I saw this weird liquid substance in her eyes, or I guess where her eyes were. I saw something there too. So it wasn't just me? You recall seeing a powder, not a liquid. Keep going? Right. It was dripping from the socket and gathering on her hands. And each time the sound of liquid hit the marble, I grew increasingly anxious. Then I felt something touch me. I could only see parts of it. Completely black figure, wearing a veil, and its skin, if you could call it that, was completely covered in eyeballs. It was like they were part of the ecosystem of the body. You are reminded of the figure in the previous exhibit. The figure grabbed my hair and brought it close to where its face should be, but I don't think it had one. It grabbed my chin and forced me to look at the sculpture. I really don't know how else to describe it, but I felt like it was looking at me. Despite not having eyes to see with, it was the feeling of being watched. And the sclera of her eyes have visibly blue veins running through them. I think they still are. Iris quickly stands up, stumbling off and nearly falling as she does. Iris! I have to go. Sorry. Without another word, she starts running. Hey! You stand up, your body wanting to catch up with her, but your mind keeping you still. As she slips away, another patron, head in a small notebook, walks past her. Hey, oh god, what was your name again? Erebus? Erebus! He gives her a death glare, and she does not notice, continuing down the hall. I'm sorry about that. Do you know that woman? So blunt. Not really? Alright, do you control her? Huh? It's a simple question. No, she controls herself, I guess. Then you don't need to apologize for her behavior. He looks back in the direction Iris went before facing you once again. Do you know where she went? You shake your head. She said she wanted to look for something, but she seemed really frantic about it. Almost like she was paranoid about something. A lot of people are paranoid these days. Not that I blame them for it. I would be too. I mean, it just seemed different. More like she was. I don't know. This might not be the best word to describe it, but... Delusional? The stranger cocks an eyebrow at the word before narrowing his eyes. How so? We were looking at a painting earlier, and all of a sudden, red dust started spilling from her nose. She wasn't feeling good, so we left. And while we were in the main sculpture hall, she said she felt like one of the sculptors was looking at her. And she was scratching at herself, and her eyes were all red, and she said she had to go see something. The man inhaled sharply. And that something grabbed her and forced her to look. Immediately, he closes his notebook with both hands, slamming the covers together. Can we not have a freaking outing in peace? Seriously. Let's all go out, they said. It'll be nice, and you don't have to worry about a thing, they said. If you want to be by yourself, that's perfectly okay, they said. Oh, I'm going to kill them when this is over. What is he so mad about? Outing? What outing? Are there other people? I'm just seeing you. I'm here with a group of friends, but we're people who enjoy doing things together, but separately. Go to the same place, do our own activities, mind our own business. Is there a point in going then? Yeah, so we can all reconvene at the end and tell each other what we saw over warm drinks. Anyway, not the point. He doesn't grab you, but he gently hovers his hand a few inches away from your body. Do you know her? Yeah, she's my friend. We came here together. How long have you been here? Not even half an hour. Has she been here before? Yeah? Do you know when her last visit was? No, but she tries to come once a month. Is she predisposed to any mental disorders, illnesses, or other conditions that would leave her vulnerable to hallucinations? Not that I'm aware of, nor is that my business. Does she hurt you? Well, not really. He cuts you off. Answer the question. Would you say that Iris hurt you? Huh? Wait, did she? But, no? No. I don't remember what she did. She just got up and left. No? I wouldn't say I'm hurt, not at all. If anything, she's hurt. She seems very unwell. And I don't know if she's predisposed to any mental illnesses or any other hidden disorders. I see. I understand that you were trying to help her. You were trying to be a good person. But you should understand that helping strangers can make things worse. I'm aware. I heard all the stranger danger stuff. And shouldn't you say the same thing about yourself? We won't be strangers. You'll understand what I mean. If you start feeling more intense pain, you can try finding a friend of mine. Light hair, ridiculous outfit, probably staring off into space somewhere near the religious paintings. Oh, alright. Be careful. That's all I ask. With that, the stranger nods and walks away, presumably to another exhibit hall. And here you are, left slightly baffled, slightly confused, and slightly annoyed. You might as well try to enjoy the rest of your day. Outside, the rain is growing heavier, and the pain in your hand hurts even more. But you aren't going to let that stop you, not in this rain. You check the time on a nearby clock before making your way back into the museum. How did you get to the 19th to 20th century furniture exhibit? You're not quite sure, but you're not complaining. The craftsmanship that goes into such intricate chairs, just to be sat on, thrown around, ruined. When you are here, you appreciate the dedication and art put into things used every day. And perhaps any feelings where you take your manufactured tables for granted is temporarily whisked away. As you try to absorb the plaques and wood carvings, you overhear something tasty. Two people arguing. Or to be more clear, a one-sided argument. Of course I'm listening into the commotion! Of course you will! You position yourself in such a way where it wouldn't be noticed that you were listening in on some gossip. And you're positive that's what Arbus said? Yeah, of course I am. The two people in question look like they would never be in the same room together, especially not willingly. I hear everything, especially from him. You know how freaking loud he gets when he's mad. Well, We're just gonna have to do something about it. We? Yes, we! Erebus is too pissed off and going to find Aaron to force them to deal with it. But they aren't going to. They probably already got it figured out. Or maybe it's part of some secret plan they have. They usually say the shit resolves itself. But it never does. It gets worse somehow. They're probably like staring off into space somewhere. Or maybe, I don't know, evil scheming? It's like the one time we decide to do something together, something goes wrong, and it's their fault. Are we really doing stuff together? Most of us are separated, and we're the only ones here in this room because of this? Did you get a description of her? Nah, he didn't mention it. He talked to someone who saw her, though. So we don't even know where to look. Am I supposed to go through every feminine-presenting person in the museum, give them a good look in their eyes, and be like, hello, are you experiencing paranoia and delusions right now? No, I'm not gonna do that. Then, what are we gonna do? It's not our problem, Lenore. If there's something going on, we'll be dragged into it later. But right now, don't worry about it too much. Relax. Have some fun before the potential chaos. I know you're like rockstar cool, super laid back, whatever, but... She looks around the room. You dip as much as you can out of sight. You know what? You know what we're dealing with? An eldritch freaking disease, Genesis. Does that not bother you? Like an uncontrollable one. It's great that we'll be able to catch it, but like... At least yours is slightly less frequent and less chaotic. I guess, except for the Arcana. The man, whose name you assume is Genesis, rolls his eyes and puts his head in his hands. Listen, it's not my fault that my psychedelic rock album from 1987 accidentally started a murderous cult. 1987? He looks pretty young. People make cults around musicians without, my influence. Do you not remember the boy bands that women would get in crates for and try to ship themselves to the damn venue? No? Why would I? I don't know. Makes sense that you don't remember, actually, because of how stupid it was. Still, that was not my fault. I didn't mean to bake a cult into music. Lenore crosses her arms and turns around. Learn to control it. Okay. I can definitely control a cult that I did not start. You, on the other hand, you just cause madness. Which is useful because it's no specific madness. You can't blame me for things you can't pin on me. That's the exact same thing That's the exact same thing I'm trying to say for myself. Genesis sighs and opens the pamphlet in his hand. Hey, Lenny, don't call me that. There's an exhibit for fashion and textile design. You want to go see that? Lenore's skull immediately turns soft. That sounds nice. Genesis breathes a sigh of relief. Do we have to pay extra? That's just over there. Genesis points at the opposite direction of you. The voices return to normal volume as they walk away. You put your head in your hands as you try to rattle and process the conversation. They're definitely looking for Iris. At least sorta. Something about diseases, something about... it's not worth dwelling on. Honestly, at this point, you need a drink. And so you make your way through exhibits, slowly absorbing furniture, paintings, and pots. What you don't notice, though, is how quiet it is. There's the regular museum quiet, and then there's the lack of even security quiet. Not that you planned on stealing. On the way to the cafe area, you walk past through empty hallways, only accompanied by your footsteps. Every so often, you sit to admire a painting or another piece of art. Despite the quiet being unnatural, frightening even, you did not mind it. Less getting distracted. No pictures grabbing your attention for longer than a few moments. Except for one. The entire canvas, which stretched from above your arms down to your hips, was painted black. It reflects like glass. What a strange gloss to put over the canvas. You try to read the plaque next to the painting, but no matter how long you stare at it, you can't discern what's written. It's not that it's in a language you can't speak, or perhaps it's no real language at all. There's something wrong about it. Your brain starts to identify the words before muddling. Huh. I feel like this is a terrible idea! Yes! It intrigues you. In the reflection, your body is pitch black, outlined by a white glow. You move your hand, and the black reflection's hand follows. Strange mirror. You strike another pose. It mimics your reactions. I bet some gals would get a kick out of this thing. You return your hand to your sides and stand as normal. Just when you're about to turn away and continue down the hall, you see a small light appear above your shoulder. You turn around. There's nothing behind you. Huh? Your gaze returns to the content of the painting. Slowly, 2 additional lights appear below the previous. And even slower, another set. It comes into vision with ease, and yet immediately. The light disappears and reopens like they're pulsing. You don't want to know what that entails, and you run down the hall. You make your way to the cafe, which is next to the multi-story indoor sculpture garden. Only, when you get there, the cafe is empty, save for one soul, who just so happens to be jumping over the counter when you catch him. Oh shit! There's still some people! Hey! What's going on? He nearly spills his cup, decorated with a drawing on the side to look like a comment. Can I get you something? I'm not great at making fancy drinks, but I sure can make a good coffee on tap. Do you even work here? Nope. Then why are you behind the counter and stealing drinks? First off, I'm not stealing anything. You catch him pull a few coins out of his jacket pocket and place them in a little tip jar in the counter. Second, there's no one here, and I wanted something. I thought I'd just make it myself. Do you want something yourself? I could get like... He looks behind the counter. There's water bottles back here, or I could make you coffee and put a little cream in it to do a silly design. Or do it without cream. I don't think I should. Well, I'm paying for it, alright? Even though everyone's disappeared because, whatever. Will you take this horribly dressed stranger's offer? What do you mean horribly dressed? I like his fit. Yeah. Sure, I'll just take some water. I wanted coffee! Sure, yeah. Give me a moment. He places his own drink down and hops back over the counter. Don't tell me they locked the frickin' water fridge. You hear a shuffling of pockets and plastic. Isn't that just the worst? The fact that the very thing y'all need to live is locked behind payments? Christ. Here, got it. He slides over an ice-cold bottle. Thanks. You crack the cap open and take a swig. And damn, that feels amazing. Thank you. All good. He takes a seat on the counter and kicks his legs gently. The buzzing of refrigerators and machinery sits delicately in the background. Why are your clothes different? It's stripped down. I was wondering what disappeared. It's like shaving a cat. Don't want you getting all anxious as we talk to one another. Anxious over clothes? Some people are. How did you even change them? Magic, babe. Now, let's get to know each other. I'm Genesis. Friends call me Jenny. Assholes call me that cunt with the bright orange hair. Who are you? I'm Lion. Cute name. He takes a shot of whatever the hell he's drinking. So, Hellcat, what's your deal? I can assume you were the one spying on me and Lenore earlier. There's no use hiding it. How'd you know? 'Cause I could hear you. The footsteps are loud, you know. People tend to make more noise when they're trying to be quiet. It's really funny. Now, tell me, what's your issue? It's eerily quiet. I know, right? I hate it. Do you have any idea why that is? He touches a finger to his lips. Kinda. Never know where they all go, though. I'm gonna make an assumption. You're the one who was touched by a delusion. Not infested with it, just touched. Huh? Which means you still have a chance. Everyone gets a little delusional every so often. No big deal. You sigh and put your head in your hands. No one here is making any sense. Are you feeling any pain? Where did she touch you? You hold up your left hand. She fell. I grabbed her with this hand. I've been having shooting pains since then in my arm. To put it simply, since no one else wants to explain it to you, you've been given a touch of delusion. Imagine it like brushing hands of a disease. The germs may linger on your skin, but that doesn't mean you're gonna get it. After all, you only touched hands briefly with the infected individual. Still hurts though. It'll hurt. You might start having visions. Visions? I think they like to call them hallucinations, which works well enough. So, what's going down is twofold. First fold is we need to find that girl. Lenore and Erebus already on that. No clue what Aaron's doing, but the silence isn't making me happy. He sighs and takes another sip of his drink. Find her. Deal with that before it gets to a crazier level. Second fold is you, if we assume she hasn't come into physical contact with anyone else. Simple enough, right? I should ask him a question. How come you or your friends aren't affected? Who's Aaron? Why is everyone gone? How come you or your friends aren't affected? We're immune to bullshit. I'm kidding. Long story short, don't want to bore you. We aren't like you, that's all. Are you some sort of, scientist who have built immunity or something? That doesn't really make any frickin' sense. But no, I'm like the last person that should be given such a studious title. I like stage effects. I like explosions. Nothing else really, though. My daughter really likes science, though. The physical ones. We did the whole baking soda and vinegar lab recently. Oh, that shit gets so messy. Okay, who's Aaron? I've met everyone else you mentioned to some degree. Some with more in-depth conversations than others. But this Aaron person, I don't know anything about them. Everyone seems very upset about something they did, though. They caused this mess. That was not like they did it consciously. Genesis gently sways his legs, looking down at his laces. They tend to wander off and get lost in their own little worlds. Yeah, I get it. Not their faults. Should I be careful? Not any more careful than you would be with me, really. They just don't really pay attention. They do, but they also don't. Pay attention in the wrong places. They're probably caught up in their own world. Or worlds. One of many. Don't know how it really works. Why has everyone gone? We haven't really figured it out. We assume, by proxy, they're all stuck in their own delusions. Might have run off to weird corners of the place. Do you know what they have delusions about? Hard to say. It looks like it depends on the person. I'm not the expert, though. You'd have to ask Aaron. They know all about it. Might even be able to tell you what your delusions are just by looking at you. But I might not have any. That is a lie. Not yet. You were done questioning Genesis. Well, if you find yourself lost or needing company, I'll be here unless someone calls me. You're not gonna come with me? Why should I? I'm slacking here. My friends are out there looking for that girlie of yours. But I know better than them. She'll come when she's ready. They always do. He rolls so his back is on the counter, crossing one leg over his knee. Genesis gives a thumbs up. You're gonna be fine. I think you know where you want to go. Even if you don't, you'll find your body leading you there. Why's that? Dunno. Don't care to dwell on shit that I know will happen. I'll just let it do its thing. Let the music notes carry you home. Or hell, wherever you're going. Once it's silent, he fidgets. Damn, wish I could smoke in here. They'll damage the artwork. And your lungs. First thing I care about, second thing I don't. Do they have one of those bowls of... Genesis reaches behind the counter and gasps in accomplishment. Oh, hell yeah! What is it? They got lollipops here for kiddos. I grabbed a blue raspberry one. That's the best, obviously. Do you want one? You're getting one anyway. Catch! He throws something at you. You, catch it! You catch a lollipop in your hands. Opening your palm, you find yourself itching to know the flavor. Cherry. Could be better, but you take it nonetheless. Anyway, kid, do what you gotta do. Yeah, I've got my own little drink and a little lollipop. Yeah, I'm gonna go drink all this somewhere and have a good time in the chaos. Or the stillness. It's a bit of both. And I won't spill it on any priceless art. Promise. He hops off the counter and, using his index and middle fingers, salutes you by touching his temple and flicking his wrist to the air. Hope you don't die. Why would I? Genesis does not let you finish. Instead, pushes you out the cafe and back into the halls, closing the door behind you. You stand in confusion over the man you just encountered. You know your next stop, though. It's been lingering in the back of your mind. You find your eyes always glance in the direction. There's something waiting for you in the European Paintings Hall. The painting hall seems quiet, quieter than most places you have visited in the gallery. In your history with other museums, paintings are what patrons flock to. They are what is most impressive, most beautiful. There's less regard for poetry, for jewelry, for other designs. Some will venture through those areas just to be polite, to seem sophisticated. And that's what makes the silence itch at your skin. Your arm still hurts, more intensely here even. Like syringes, grazing through the skin, pulling at what's inside but leaving your fluids intact. The room seems darker. You take what time you can to admire the artwork. You just wish you were doing it under better circumstances. Sometimes you stand in front of artwork of people and try your best to copy their poses. Even if you fail a few times. In another room, you hear a noise, a shuffling of movement. Could it finally be someone else? You slowly approach the entrance to the other room, peering in. A person, finally clad in red, paces back and forth in the empty exhibit space. They're muttering something to themselves, but it's too muffled to make out. Hello? You slowly approach them, waving your hand. Hello? They don't seem to be stopping. You take a few steps closer, until you are just within their grasp. Are you alright? With quick and precise movement, they move towards you. You have no time to react. Especially when the stranger presses 2 fingers to your throat, pushing into the muscles under the skin. When the arteries pulse, squirm, they purse their lips and sigh. Acute exposure. Just a faint touch. It'll linger, or perhaps. The hand gently rolls down, near your collarbone. The hum is so beautiful. But it is not what we desire. Not right now, at least. The fingers work their way up your skin and to your chin, forcing your head to tilt upwards. I can fix this. What will you do? But stay still. They look into your eyes, absorbing whatever swims through them. There is a lot inside you for me to unlock. You swallow. Are you nervous? You shouldn't be. If anything, you're anxious that they'll react negatively if you move. They already like you. They hum a single note deep in their throat and let go of you. I had to check your exposure. But you're fine so far. At least. Exposure to what? Their eyes glisten for a moment, but the light leaves faster than it ever entered. They probably left you in the dark, huh? What? Are they scared? I told them they shouldn't be. Or maybe it's because it's all my fault, according to them. Whatever they say, it's not important. Allow me then to make an introduction. They spread their arms wide, and you feel yourself growing with a sudden dizziness. The darkness is illuminated by light from neon colors, forming shapes and swirls that pull against your vision. The eye pulse, strain, draw you into them with their presence. I am Aaron, the harbinger of delusion. And my dear, you're in a bit of a predicament that you're almost entirely unaware of. I think you're getting something of an idea, right? It'd be such a shame if you didn't. There is the pressure on your eyes, on your voice box, on the bridge of your nose. Too stunned to speak? Sorry, let me release you. The room returns to normal. You find yourself collapsed on the floor, holding your head. What was that? Look up. You obey, finding a hand extended towards you. With hesitation, you take it, and you are pulled back up to a standing position. Now, we have business to attend to. Finding Iris. How do you know her name? Your friend said that they've been unable to get in contact with you the entire time. Because I know her. I frequent this museum pretty often. They're relaxed on their sketching rules. They twirl a piece of their hair around their finger. Now, let's take you out of the dark. Considering the whispers you've heard from my friends, or are we some sort of evil version of coworkers, or are we freaks in an unfortunate situation? Doesn't matter really. They extend their arm to each side. I'm a demon, and each demon has their own purpose. You don't really look like a demon though. You just sort of look eccentric. Is it the clothes, or is it the tattoos? They talk to me sometimes. You can listen if you want. I'll pass. Thanks. Let's be realistic for a moment, if you don't mind. You wouldn't want to talk to something like this, would you? The form is swallowed by shadow and illuminated with eyes along a halo that looks like a mobile above a child's crib. And I mean, that's my lamest one. I didn't pack anything more than a mere figure in the shadows. Sure scares the daylights out of teenagers who spend too much time on technology, though. My purpose is delusion. I was born from the sands the day a human being used sight against another. I crawled from my hole and took the form of the first person I ever met, with modifications, of course. I am both a servant of the earth and its superior. I can see everything and everyone, and yet must use separate selves to see through a million eyes. If that does not set the stage any clearer, then we'll need to get your front lobe checked and swabbed for parasites that are eating holes in your memory. You now understand what I am. I enjoy the world's pleasures of art. That is why I'm here today. Contrary to what dry blood whispers under my nails, I do not just indulge in the macabre and in the horrors. Which is still super fun, dear. Don't get me wrong. There's a point to this, and it is that it is only a mere coincidence that I am here. When Iris is infected with a fragment of delusion, that is why she's been acting irrationally. It's seeping into her sight, into her mind. Usually I'd be able to pause what she's seeing, what she's thinking, where she is. They smile, tilting their head to one side so hair falls over their eyes. But the fragments have minds of their own sometimes. It's fascinating. It is like static when I focus on her. Aaron looks to your left hand. The pain seems deeper now. Similar to a frightened animal in the face of its predator, if only pain knew those instincts. They touch their own hand before bringing it closer to their own face. She's spreading the delusion through touch. You will not corrupt to the same state as her with just a brisk contact of skin, though your symptoms of pain may echo through your bones for a very, very long time. That and brief, infrequent hallucinations, as you have already. Did you like what you saw on that blank canvas? I did not intend for it to occur, but sometimes strange things happen when I'm around. I apologize, but perhaps it will be more. You keep getting yourself into trouble. I can feel it pulsing. Hey, yo, Aaron! It sounds beautiful. They grab both sides of your face, thumb rolling over your cheek. Perhaps things can change. Things can be different. Would you like that, darling? Before you can react, move them off of you. They take a few steps back and wipe their hands on their dress. This may not make sense now. That's alright. It's more fun that way. They linger on your face, on the sharpness of your jaw and how your throat moves when you swallow. Now, come along. We have a delusional girl to find. Iris will come to us. To me mostly, but I'll pretend to include you if it makes you feel any better. They hold their hand out towards you. If you're scared of what lies in the darkness, in these ancient halls of centuries-old art, I can be your guide. You're not sure how to feel about this guy. Maybe you should ask some more questions. What's in the darkness? What exactly are you? Where's everyone else? How does delusion work? How does it work? Oh, love. A demon does not tell all of their secrets. Perhaps I will sometime in the future, but that's not our priority. What? Do you wish to know me so desperately? Yes! Well, I do. Yeah, yes. Why? I think you're interesting. With each word, you're begging me to open the door into whatever world you surround yourself in. Would you open that door, Lion? Just because something begs and beckons does not mean you should listen to its call. I thought this was widely understood. I mean, yeah, that's true. I am just the exception because I'm a pretty vessel who can help you. Well, when you put it like that, I appreciate the flattery. Another time, though, you should have higher priorities. The perils of loved ones, perhaps? They cannot seem to help but laugh, covering their mouth, nearly smudging lipstick. You're cute. Thank you! That is not romance on the tip of their tongue. Okay, what's in the darkness? Our catch. But there may be things you see that you don't want to. Perhaps something will restrain you, digging into the depths of your beautiful brain and pulling out the worms that gnaw at your nerves. Then, once they're picked from your throat and ears, the worms force their way back into your head through the area above your waterline. That's not gonna happen, is it? Oh, I sure hope not. I only saw cases of that on the Isle of Man. And we aren't there, thankfully. But it'd be quite interesting to watch you squirm. Hey! Oh, did I say that out loud? Oh, I'm so sorry. They are not. What exactly are you? A manifestation, born in the sands and draped in silks made from the thread of horrors that connects us all. What? Do you not like my poetics? You shrug, crossing your arms. I'm a demon, as I've stated before. I make deals. I bestow gifts. So you make contracts? Deals. It's nothing fancy. I don't care enough to make it fancy. I'm old, but that doesn't mean I'm old school. Some really love humanity's interpretation with red skin and long painted horns. They'll present themselves that way. I think the blindsided delusion is more fun. Obviously, I prefer to appear human and integrate myself into the world. Learn to love. Learn to hate. Learn to create. If I desire, I can change my body at will. And when I'm injured, I take from the flesh of others to repair my own vessel. I am born of the desires of the human race. It's more fun than being a child of the flesh you were enveloped in. Where's everyone else? Yes. It is strange that no one else is here. It doesn't really matter now, does it? It's creepy that they aren't here. Unnatural in broad daylight. All parts of Iris's delusion, perhaps. My assumption is that she wants to be alone. Hence, the voice dwindles off, and they shrug, flipping their palms up to the ceiling. What? Do you think I must desire everything born from my blood? That it is necessary for me to speculate on the hallucinations and desires of another? I think so. We'll see about that. Come. Aaron starts walking, and you feel obligated to follow. You begin to walk through the empty exhibit, eyes gazing over as much artwork as you can. Even if you must simply wait for her arrival, I'd rather prefer she doesn't ruin any of the artwork. I'll have to evaluate all the artwork before going home, just in case. You think she'd do that? Yes, it has happened before. It will happen again. I always hate doing conversation work that has been thrust upon me by the strings of fate. I don't have the time. Well, I do have the time, but an artist prefers to work on their own pieces, not pick up the scraps of the dead. You know so much about her, about this place, and to a degree, about me. They look over to you with bright stars in their eyes. Of course, Lion. You do not recall telling them your name. I already know quite a bit about you from just our touches. It's a shame. They shake their head and cut themselves off. No matter. You didn't let me finish. I have a habit of doing that. Please, go ahead. So, we'll assume for a minute that she's been infected with whatever this is. A fragment of delusion. Yes. Which causes her to truly fall into delusion. become anxious, scratch at her own skin until her nervous system can break out of it. Have you seen a nervous system on its own? I've danced with one before. There isn't much to grab onto. I allowed it to hold on to me, dance with me. That sounds absurd. Yeah, the staring is sort of weird if you aren't used to constant perception. You're interrupting me again. My dearest apologies. As you were saying. Again, assuming she's infected with something. I'm around her pretty often. How come the symptoms started when she got here? And how did you happen to be here? As I made clear, I come here every so often. I try to visit museums all over your world. But the winding hallways of this one draws you in, rips you of your artistic integrity, and fills you with the stuff all the same. I usually come alone. My friends don't get out very much, so I invited them along. Even if they decide to go off and do their own thing, partially not by their own volition. You see an art piece you like, you get absorbed in its beauty. Your friends leave you. You shrug your shoulder and continue at your own pace. What I'm getting at here is that this is coincidental. Well, I believe everything happens for a reason, but this isn't happening on purpose. Does that make sense, love? Sure. I don't think you believe me. No, not really. They smile, all teeth, but they do not respond. I like that you are hesitant, sharp on your feet against the sharp tongue. The rest of your walk is mostly silent. Aaron makes occasional comments on artworks that you pass by. On artists, on muses, on the journey it took for these pieces to have the privilege of blessing your eyes. You're not sure if you're listening. You're barely retaining their words. You can make an assumption as to why. You're tired. Exhausted in a way you don't normally feel. Drained in every sense of the word. It causes you to rub at your eyes, massage your temples. Lion? You're growing slower. Pace is erratic. You have not looked back at you once in your entire journey. Fine. Don't lie to me. It's not a good look on you, my dear. They turn around towards you and give you their hand. Do you need to get dragged along? I can help with that. I don't even know what you're offering. I'm just tired. It feels like something's eating at me. But you shouldn't have to. They bite the inside of their mouth. Huh. They look upward, right into the lights above. I can't feel her, so I cannot guarantee your safety. She may hurt you in her state. But if you wish to depart, I will not say no. They talk about your friend like she's a provoked animal. Can I try talking to her? I wouldn't advise that. But their eyes gloss over you, but their face does not give you clear emotion or direction. I'm not opposed if that is what you want. In case she harms you, I will be behind you. Thank you. In truth, you're not quite sure how to respond. There is silence between the two of you for a few moments. Despite the space between you, you still feel close. You have not taken your eyes off Aaron since meeting. But just as you enter this room, you stop. There's something here. We should sit down. Is that alright with you? You nod. You and Aaron sit on a bench in the middle of the exhibit room. You say nothing to one another, but Aaron stares at you the entire time. Like they're trying to peel off your skin and read what you are underneath it. Part of you wants to question it, but the other screams that it's best to leave it alone. To let it peel back each layer, show off what's underneath like a flower. Aaron stands up. There's a smile they cannot ever try shaking on their lips. You stand as well, turning to face the location that they are looking at. Oh, no! Iris. She stands there alone in the doorway, decorated in sweat like it was a fine garment. Iris appears to be in a disheveled state, as if tossed around by the ocean and its winds. Her hair seems more unkempt than before, and her eyes are bloodshot, soaked in red. You had only separated for a few minutes, maybe a few hours? Time is warped, an endless, ever-rushing stream that flows through your body and pushes it forward. Pushes you forward, towards Iris. Iris? Her right hand is bloodied, coated in red from the glass shard that she's gripping onto, like she'll fall apart if she does not. Now where did you get that? Amusement rattles in their voice. Are you okay? Use your eyes, Lion. What happened to you? Everyone is gone. Sent to corners and the closets. I thought I was alone. Something tried to kill me. I'm certain of it. Dark figures with a veil over its face. You see Aaron turn their head gently to one side, eyes narrowing. Lost in strangled thoughts. Hey, I had to defend myself. It's okay. They aren't here. We can help you now, okay? You feel the gaze of judgment for that we. There's nothing you can do to help, but you might as well attempt. You hold your hand out towards Iris. Here, let's calm you down and clean you off. She stares at your hand, then back up to your face. If you're sure. She slowly walks towards you. Here you can see the veins that crawl towards her irises. They desire to wrap around her sclera like vines. I'm sure. Iris is hesitant in the last few steps towards you. You quickly grab her shoulders to stabilize her. That's it. You're okay. As soon as you touch her, Iris's eyes light up and she flinches. Stop! She shakes you off of her and pushes herself away. You've been touched by it too! Get away from me! She lifts her left arm, skin digging into the glass. Breath irregular, knees locking, buckled forwards. Iris drives the shard into your arm. She twists it 180 degrees to the right. It feels longer than it should. Gah! The shard is thrown across the room, and she fills the hole in your arm with her fingers. I have to dig it out of you. You try to pull yourself away from her, but you're stuck. Get off of me! You don't notice how quickly you fall onto your back, how your head swirls with pain and makes you dizzy. Aaron was standing above you. One hand was clenched behind their back, arm making a near-perfect right angle. The other hand was holding a long blade that glowed as bright as their own eyes, covered in blood, glistening in the low lights. Iris's arm lies on the floor, cut right above the elbow. She says nothing, the nub still trying to reach out to you. You're too far gone. I was hoping there was still something salvageable. The weird thing here is, you've had it festering inside you, but you were asymptomatic. Is it possible for us to find out why? Aaron throws their arm out. The sword in their hand disappears into a brigade of small stars. They step in front of Iris and grabs both her remaining hand, their fingers interlaced together, and her nub. This will get in the way. They slide Iris's bag off her shoulder and kick it to the side. The two of them sink to the floor, Iris on her back, Aaron completely on top of her. Scratch me, dear. Dig deep into me. Iris doesn't respond verbally. All she does is gently scratch into their arm. Here, let me help you return. They roll their sleeves up to reveal more intricately carved tattoos. Oh, are you having trouble hurting me? They flick their wrist, hard enough to hear the cracking of bones. Palm up in the air, the glass shard appears in their hand. You look over to the shard that had been thrown across the floor. It's still there. The dizziness is getting to you. You slowly drag your body across the floor until your back meets a wall. Something squirms under your skin. The pain, perhaps. Should have done something sooner. You wanted to talk to her. You should have warned me. I did. Now hush. You'll just hurt yourself more if you talk. But stay conscious. They hold the fresh amputation down and hands her the shard. You and everything inside you has to return. Do you understand that? Iris seems to be ignoring any and all pain. Her priority instead is driving the shard into Aaron's chest. The shard stays inside, twisting around the skin until she no longer has the strength to turn it. And when she pulls it out, something follows. Aaron's flesh at the wound has turned thin and stringy. It falls onto Iris's skin, right on the exact same spot that she had stabbed them. I think you do. I take from you what you take from me. They lean down further onto her. It's like their body is pulling her chest upward and removing the flesh. And it fades away, leaving behind flexing muscles and parts of bone. Aaron's wound repairs itself. That's fair, isn't it? So come home. You're not quite sure how to describe the next few long, agonizing minutes, clutching your own arm and being forced to watch. Because no matter how you angle yourself or how you look away, your eyes somehow always see it, crystal clear. What the hell? Aaron allows Iris to weakly injure them in every possible spot. Taking the shard across the collarbone, ripping at their face, taking whole chunks and letting them splatter against the wood floors. And each time, Aaron leans down so that their mirrored body parts are only inches apart. And the flesh melts together. What remains from the lesions, the cuts on their body, it drips down from the gashes and towards Iris. It latches onto her own flesh, and they mix together. It's like watching slime get its thick, liquid consistency. Once the tendon and sinews become one, whatever is on her body is pulled off and restored onto Aaron's. And it's leaving her empty. Leaving her body, with only bits of muscle that Aaron did not want to take, and the skeletal structure that held her together. When she died, leaving her unable to wield the shard, Aaron took it upon themselves to lacerate their own body and press it against the remaining parts of Iris's. Your body does not flinch. Your stomach does not force itself out of your throat in the form of vomit. Aaron stands up and brushes themselves off. They look just as ethereal and shining as they were when you met earlier. Well, that was unfortunate, wasn't it? Everything should be returning to normal now. I'll have Genesis clean up that slacker. They walk towards you and kneels down. And you're injured. Let me see your arm, please. You hold up your arm to Aaron, who gently caresses it as they check your skin. It is now they can better process your injury. She cut you right at your shoulder. Thankfully, she only cut right below an artery. This could be worse and have been right at it. They put their ear right next to your wound. Aaron doesn't move. You can feel your heartbeat in your own ears. That makes sense. You hear footsteps coming from one of the opposite doorways. You see Erebus and Lenore. Erebus looks out of breath, while Lenore crosses her arms and leans against the wall. You've got a wonderful hum going on inside you. Hey! Why the hell were you not communicating earlier? Lenore eyes the remains of Iris on the floor and smiles. Watch out, boy. You'll trip. Huh? Erebus stops in his tracks and looks at the floor. He winces, balling his hands into fists. He's not disgusted. No, he's just mildly inconvenienced. What the hell did you do? Aaron stands up, wiping their mouth on their sleeve. Looks like they had themselves a feast. Genesis slides in behind Lenore, peering over the wall. I didn't eat her. What? Are you sad I didn't, or are you sad I didn't leave any for you? You think I'd eat Delusion meat? You're stupid, you know that. You're acting like you haven't had it before. Yeah, Huh? Now, do you mind helping me out? I already know what you're going to ask. I'll do a sweep of the exhibit and make sure she didn't damage anything. I'm not sure where she got the glass. They gesture to the blood-covered shard that's still on the floor. I think she got it from the bathroom, but please make sure she didn't smash anything. Easy. Lenore slowly walks over to the glass, careful not to sully her boots in red. She takes it and quickly leaves, waving to you before she disappears from sight. Well, the easiest job has been taken. Jenny, do you mind cleaning her up? I do. But I'm gonna go crazy if it just sits here. Genesis skips over to the remains of Iris. He sifts through what remains of her muscle, and he immediately gasps. Oh, shit. You're doing that thing again where you're ignoring the question I asked. Huh? I apologize. Ask away, Eddie. What the hell happened? Aaron looks down at you, eyebrows knitting into those of pity. Lion here has a case of the parasite. Erebus and Genesis both go silent. You're positive. Iris made skin contact with Lion's injury. Scratched them, dug her fingers into the wound, trying to dig something out. By now, Erebus had kneeled down next to Genesis to further investigate Iris's body. Did you touch Lion before this encounter? I in fact did. My assumption then is that she thought Lion was you as soon as Iris touched the Lion. A bit of madness on the shoulders, maybe. Ugh! So if that's the case, we'll have to take them home? Aaron nods. I'll treat them of their injuries. You might even get an opportunity to study it further. They smile, and you just wince. We'll see about that. Sorry to intrude on your conversation, but I don't really know what's happening. What is the parasite? Oh, sweetheart. They lean down and extend their hand towards you. You take it and slowly stand. As you get up, your knees wobble. Aaron helps to stabilize you. How do I put it? They gently caress the wound on your shoulder, which is still bleeding. Oh, here. They wipe their thumb over the skin, catching some blood before bringing it to their mouth and tasting it. Ugh. Erebus rolls his eyes and looks away. Genesis smirks. For the 7 days you have left to live, you'll gain insight you never had before. You'll see some beautiful things, everything you've always wanted to. And yet, while you experience that bliss, you'll find something squirming. Something that will line your organs, underneath your skin, behind every small crevice in your body. And once the week is up, hundreds of little eyes will burst forth from your skin. It's pretty fascinating, like spiders laying eggs. We don't know how it transmitted in your current state, so we'll have to take you home. You'll be fine with us. Don't you worry, darling. They take a few steps back and open their arms. Some would say this is unfortunate. I, instead, see this as a gift. And that's the end of the Day Zero demo. Anyway, that was Day Zero of Art Without Blood. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys do want to play this for yourselves, link to the game will be in the description below. And this was very different from the original demo. I played that a while back, and from what I recall, like, that was more focused on getting to know all the different characters from the demo. But like this version, it seems to draw more inspiration from like Eldritch horror, and I'm kind of enjoying it. Like, I think it's pretty darn cool the way it is, and I'm excited to see where exactly this will go in future chapters. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Hope you all have a lovely rest of the day, and as always, I'll be seeing you in the next video. This is Lion, signing off. Ciao.